Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining in this session on Jyotish Foundation. We started a bit late because of some technical issues. I was supposed to have a session with someone else, a guest, and then something happened and the session got cancelled altogether. But anyways, it's not too late for a class. So we have covered the planets in different houses from the moon, right? So now in this class, we'll be looking at planets in different signs, okay, in different rashis. And before we begin, let's start with the daily Shanti mantra of the Upanishads. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunakatu Saha Viryankara Vavahai Tejasvi Nadadhitamastu Ma Vidavishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. So, even as the placement of various house lords and planets in different houses are important in predictions, we also have to take into account horoscopic indications that result upon the interaction of planets and signs. Okay, just let me silence my phone. So a sign is like a empty field. Okay, without a planet, a sign is an empty field. And when a planet comes into that sign, it's like a vehicle that you are driving over, that is driving you over that empty field. Okay, and the quality of the planets is like the quality of the vehicle. For example, say Aries represents mountains. Okay, and say if you have the sun in Aries, which is of course exalted at a certain nakshatra in a certain degree, then it means you're having a very good vehicle to drive you around the mountains. Okay, similarly, say Libra represents the marketplace, and then you have you have the sun in Libra. It means you are driving a very under-maintained, very bad quality car over that, in that marketplace, which has a risk of breaking down at any point of time. Okay, so that is the way you have to look at the planets and the signs. And the inherent nature of a planet, it undergoes modifications depending upon the sign it is located in. And, the indications that I will be speaking about, these indications are mostly based on the, on the results that have been mentioned in BPHS as well as in Phaladipika. Okay, so do not apply these results literally, as I always say. Okay, consider the whole chart. All right, now the sun. Okay, in Mesha, it makes one very courageous, fighter, famous for actions. That means he will be looked at as someone who is a go-getter. Okay, the person can be a wanderer, aggressive, have strong bones because the sun represents bones. But Mesha is a fire sign, and sun in a fire sign can indicate some kind of affliction or disorder related to pitta. Okay, pitta is that hot liquid that controls, that is, that runs your life. Okay, it digests the food, it gives you energy and everything. Okay, and sometimes the sun in Mesha can actually cause a lack of wealth. Okay, it can cause a lack of wealth. Why a lack of wealth? Because the fire of Mesha can burn down the resources of the sun. Okay, so the lack of wealth is not inherent, so as to say. It's just that you might waste wealth on pursuits because of your wanderings. Okay, and then it can also give you a career where you are earning your livelihood from the use of weapons. Okay, so the sun is not it's not a very friendly planet. Okay, it's a krura graha. That means it's a cruel planet. And if the sun is exalted, then the adverse influences are minimized. Just hold on. Okay, so the adverse effects are minimized. Okay, and then the sun gets exalted at Mesha in 10 degrees. Please remember the degrees where the planets get exalted. Okay, and as we know, Mesha is a sign of Mars, which is an aggressive planet. Okay, and Mars also rules the bone marrow. Okay, so Mesha is a movable sign, and that makes the person to be a wanderer. All right, just give me a second, guys. There is this call coming and I have to take it. Okay. So next we have Vrishabha. Okay, Vrishabha is Taurus. So, the sun going into a Venusian sign, we have to remember that, Venus debilitates the sun in its sign. But Vrishabha is also ruled by the moon. Okay, it is co-ruled by the moon because this is where the moon exalts. Okay, so it makes the person very tolerant. It can make one very skillful. Okay. Uh, it can produce a person who has strong feminine association. Okay, it can also make you skilled in musical instruments. Okay, but then because the sun is a fiery planet, this can make you suffer from diseases of oral cavity and the eye, because Taurus is the natural second house, and the second house also rules the right eye. Okay, and it can also give you income because the sun represents resources. Okay, so it can give you income through scents, clothes, as well as from females. Okay, and if the sun goes to Mithuna, so this makes you lose hair. Okay, everybody who has the sun in Mithuna will suffer from hair loss issues. Okay, because Mercury is hair. All right, Mercury is hair, and the sun going into Mercurian sign, it will burn down that hair. Okay, it can, however, it can make you very skilled. Okay, it can make you well versed in astrology because the sun is one of the primary karakas of astrology, and it can make you a very keen learner. Someone who is famous, because Mercury rules the natural third house of skills, so it can make you famous for your skills. Okay, now the sun going into Cancer, which is Karka. So this can bring opposition from the father. It can bring opposition from father figures, including your bosses. Okay, it can also make you suffer from hard labor. That means you can be tormented by hard labor. Okay, you might not want to work hard, but you might feel that you might end up in situations where you have to work really, really hard for your income. Okay, but then this gives you, really, this makes you religiously inclined, and because, as I said, because the sun has the sun is a fiery planet going into a water sign, it can cause you to suffer from kapha imbalance. Okay, but if the sun is aspected by benefics, especially Jupiter, it can cause you to be born in a royal family, or it can at least make you have royal bearings. Okay, so why royal bearings? Because the sun is a royal planet, and Karaka is the sign which is the most sattvic of all signs. Okay, it is owned by moon, co-owned by Jupiter, so that makes it very royal as well. Okay, then the sun in Leo, so this can make you prone to anger issues, but then it is very good for for elimination of enemies. Okay, enemies cannot stand in front of a person, and it can make you wander in hills and jungles because Leo represents hills and jungles. Okay, it gives you very good bodily strength and vigor. It also makes you well versed in mantras. Okay, but it can give you a fetish for animal food. That means non-vegetarian food as well as dairy products. Okay, and Leo is one sign where the sun is consistent. You see, no other planet can exalt in Leo. Okay, Leo is the house of the sun, so the king does not allow anyone to exalt in Leo. Okay, so that makes a person very consistent with his words, with his actions. Okay, then the sun in Virgo. Okay, so this can make a man have the body like that of a woman. Okay, and if it's happening for a female, it can give that female a very curvy body. Okay, because Virgo is the sign which is ruled by Mercury, and this is the feminine part of Mercury. Okay, Mercury is a eunuch planet, and Virgo represents the feminine side. Okay, Gemini is more of that eunuch side. All right, and it also makes you, someone is, just hold on. Someone needs to mute. Yeah. Okay, so it can also give you skills in linguistics. That means it can make you learn multiple languages. It can also make you sweet tongued and very much capable of earning money, because sixth house, Virgo is the natural sixth house, and that it is also an earth sign, so it is an Artha house. Okay, so it gives you good capacity of making money. Okay, and Virgo, literally Kanya literally means a virgin. Okay, the word for Virgo is Kanya. It means a virgin. And as a result, sun in this sign, it gives a delicate body. Okay. Then comes Libra. This is where the sun does really bad. Okay. Because the sun represents dharma. So a debilitated sun in Libra can make you indulge in adharma. Okay. It can make you indulge in adharma. It can make you, it can give you defeat from enemies. It can make you very quarrelsome. Okay. And as I said, the sun represents consistency. Okay. So the sun in Leo represents consistency. The sun in Libra, it represents inconsistency. It can make you very inconsistent. Okay. And it can also make you have affairs outside your marriage. Okay. And Parashara says, sun in Libra makes one courageous. Okay. But that is more about having a foolhardy attitude. That means you show courage in issues where you should not be. Okay. Say a man in a market is out there with a gun and you try to go and become a hero and then you are shot. Okay. So that is, that is about the sun in Libra. Okay. So you show courage, you end up showing courage at places where it is not required. Okay. So the sun, we know it gets debilitated at 10 degrees Libra. Okay. And Scorpio or Vrishchika, again, Vrishchika is a water sign. Okay. So it can make you very quarrelsome because a fiery planet coming into a water sign is usually not comfortable. It can make you easily angered. Okay. Who is, it can produce individuals who are keen to pick up fights. Okay. But then these people, because Vrishchika is ruled by Mars, so these people are skilled in the use of sharp weapons. Okay. And it can also make you have a very cruel disposition. It can make you, it can cause physical damage by poison or weapon or fire. Okay. But then it makes you very religious. Okay. Because Mars is the planet that loves to worship God. Okay. Mars is the planet that loves to worship God. Okay. Because Mars is the, he is the brahmachari. He is the eternal worshipper of God. Okay. Then comes then comes Sagittarius or Dhanu. So this makes the person, well-to-do. It makes the person liked by the government. Okay. It can also make you scholarly. Okay. It can make you devoted to gods, skilled in the use of weapons, worthy of reverence. Okay. Having knowledge of, medicines and also strong bones. Okay. So in SSS, I have covered how Jupiter influences the sun to a large extent. So this is exactly what happens when the sun goes into a Jupiterian sign. It's a win-win situation, especially in a fire sign, okay, which is Dhanu or which is Sagittarius. The sun in Makara, Capricorn. So this can cause Pitru dosha. Okay, it can turn a person into a coward. Okay, because Saturn is very cowardly. Okay, it can make one bereft of comforts and indulgent in acts which are deemed unworthy by the society. And but then sun in Makara can make one very hardworking. Okay, the wealth will come only through hard work. Your resources will come only through hard work. That means it produces self-made individuals. Okay, if the sun goes into Aquarius, so Aquarius is the natural 11th house, so the sun does not do as badly in Aquarius as it does in Makara, in Capricorn. So it can make you have strong limbs, but it can also make you earn income through your networks. Okay. However, the sun, whether it is in Aquarius, again in Aquarius, the sun can make you indulge in profit making activities. That means if someone has sun in Aquarius, that person will be thinking of money making 24/7. Okay, because Aquarius is the house of gains. You'll always be thinking as to what you can gain from this person, what you can gain from this relationship, what you can gain from this job, and so on. Okay, so in general, the sun is very uncomfortable in the signs of Saturn. And although Saturn is the son of the sun, so Saturn also considers sun as his bitter enemy, although it is not the case with the sun. Okay, and the sun also signifies the heart. So whenever sun goes into a Saturnine sun, it can cause heart issues in medical astrology, according to medical astrology. Okay, then in Pisces, So this can make you blessed with many friends. Okay, even in Gemini, the sun can give you many friends. Okay, because the Aditya that is associated with Gemini, that Aditya's name is Mitra Aditya. Okay, and as I said, the sun does very good in Jupiter signs, so this makes you very learned. It can give you a good spouse. Okay, and usually these people earn through selling, spiritual literature. It can make these people earn from spirituality. It can also give earnings through land and irrigation. Okay, it can also make one very respected by the women folk. Okay, and however, because at the end of the day, the sun is a fiery planet, and Pisces is a water sign, so it can make someone suffer from secret ailments which are not easily detected. Okay, now what about the aspects? What about the aspects? The sun has only one aspect, that is the straight aspect. It will aspect the opposite house. Wherever it is sitting, it is going to aspect the opposite house. So the results of these aspects are taken from Phaladipika, as I said. So if the sun is aspecting Mesha and Vrishchika, okay, it usually does very good. Okay, the sun aspecting Mesha and Vrishchika does very good because Mars is the commander in chief of the sun. So these signs, they get enhanced by the aspect of the sun. Okay, so Mesha is the place where the sun exalts. Vrishchika, of course, is ruled by Mars. Okay, now what if the sun is aspecting other planets? In case of the moon, it makes one very charitable, having a delicate body, a good shaped body. It makes one very good looking. Okay, and it can make one have many servants. Okay, that means people who work under them. Okay, if the sun is aspecting Mars, okay, these are not conjunctions, these are aspects, right? It makes you very strong bodied. Okay, and however, it can make you have cruelistic tendencies. It can produce red eyes, and it can make you very, very courageous, very, very brave. Okay, if the sun is aspecting Mercury, then it can provide you with a lot of comfort and wealth, but it makes you timid. Okay, it makes you servile. And in cases if Mercury is afflicted by Saturn or Rahu, then such a person will be very weak and ugly. Okay, and as I said, these results can be applied in divisional charts as well. Okay, because Phaladipika says about sun aspecting Mercury. So if you look at a Rashi chart, Mercury cannot aspect the sun, right? Mercury will be either one house, either together with the sun in most cases, or it will be one house away, or one house ahead, or one house behind the sun. So, you have to apply these results in divisional charts as well. Okay, depending upon which chart you are looking at. Then the sun aspecting Jupiter. So again, just like Jupiter enhances the quality of the sun will also enhance the qualities of Jupiter. Okay, so Jupiter aspecting the sun, this can make the person very wealthy. It can turn one into a minister or judge. It can make one engage in charitable acts and very respected and loved among family members. Okay, now Venus. Okay, so Venus is not a friendly planet for the sun. Venus is the one, as I said, who debilitates the sun. So if the sun is aspecting Venus, then these people will be interested in women of questionable character and will face opposition in whatever work they do. Okay, and sometimes the sun aspecting Venus can also give skin disease to the to the native. Okay, like similarly, just like Mercury, Venus also cannot aspect the sun in a Rashi chart because Venus too remains very close to the sun. Okay, and if the sun is aspecting Saturn, then it makes one very timid. That means devoid of courage. It can give an ailing childhood. Okay, not an ailing body, but an ailing childhood. That means the person can suffer from many ailments in in the form of when he or she is a child. Okay, and it takes away the intelligence basically. Okay, because Saturn is anyways stupid. Saturn is anyways lazy, so it takes away whatever little intelligence such a person can have, and it can also give an ugly appearance. Okay, so these are the planets. These are the results of planets whenever the sun aspects them in either Aries or in Scorpio. Okay, I'm trying to be as specific as possible. Okay, now the sun does not do good if it aspects the Venusian signs. That means Vrishabha as well as Tula. Vrishabha is still it's still okay because it exalts the moon and is co-owned by the moon. But if the sun aspects Tula, then it gives problems. So what about the planets which are aspected by the sun? And these planets are either in Vrishabha or Tula. Okay. For moon, it can make you attached to several partners. Okay. It can make you have multiple spouses, and the person can earn through professions related to water, especially if the moon is in Vrishabha, which is an exalted moon. Okay. If Mars is there and the sun is if Mars is there in Vrishabha and Tula, and the sun is aspecting Mars, then such a person retains composure in war. It can make one very strong and courageous and earn through his or her own efforts. Okay. If the sun is aspecting Mercury, it can make one very adept in music, poetry, and book writing, good in looks, as well as it can also make one good in, engage in classical dance training. Okay. Jupiter, so it can give you many friends as well as many enemies. It can make you a minister in a council, and it can keep you very wealthy and give you a lot of satisfaction. Okay. If the sun is aspecting Venus in either Taurus or Libra, then it can give one very beautiful eyes, because Venus is named as Sulakshana by Parashara. Okay. However, it makes one a coward, and the person usually earns by serving the government. Okay. The sun aspecting Saturn, it can make one very lazy, poor, ailing, as well as cohabiting with old women. Okay. What about the signs of Mercury? So again, the sun is does average in Mithuna and Kanya. Okay, so if the moon is in either Mithuna or Kanya, then such a person can be tormented by friends, or friends will be responsible for taking away the mental peace of the person. Okay, these people are never satisfied, and they are often troubled by foreign travel and residence. Okay, if Mars is aspected by the sun, and Mars is in either Mithuna or Kanya, then this person will be afraid of enemies. Such a person can be quarrelsome, can be easily conquered by enemies, as well as such a person receives multiple humiliations from multiple people at several points in their life. Okay. For if the sun is aspecting Mercury, then such a person is supposed to have kingly qualities, famous, blessed friends, very less enemies, but can suffer from diseases of the eyes. Okay. For Jupiter, it makes one very learned, knower of secret mantras, and it can make the person mentally very aggressive. Okay. And that can make the person very prone to loss of mental poise. It can also mean frequent foreign travel or frequent changes of residence. Okay. If the sun is aspecting Venus, which is either in Mithuna or in Kanya, then such a person can be comforted by the spouse. Such a person finds a lot of happiness from children and wealth. It can also make one very good looking and healthy. Okay. Again, Saturn, so this makes the person easily excited, foolhardy, tricky, but it can give the person the satisfaction of being served by many servants. Okay. Now if the sun is aspecting moon sign, which is Karka, okay, so if the moon, this is actually good because the sun is a royal planet, as I said, in the Karka, and Cancer is the most sattvic of all the signs. So if moon is in Karka and the sun is aspecting Karka, then this makes the person equivalent to a king, and it can make him or her earn wealth through pursuits related to water. Okay. If Mars is there, then it can make the person suffer from inflammations, perennial ailments, and the person can be devoid of friends, as well as bereft of progeny. Okay. If Mercury is in the sign of the moon, that means if Mercury is in Cancer and the sun is aspecting Mercury, then it can make the person famous for his learning and status. The person can earn favors from the government, and will usually remain without enemies. Okay. Then sun aspecting Jupiter in Karka. So in Karka, Jupiter is exalted. So this gives a very high status. It makes a person very famous as well as very versatile. Okay. Venus, this makes a person earn through ladies or women. It can also give professions that are related to women. For example, selling perfumes, selling clothes, selling female accessories, and so on. And usually this is a good aspect on Venus, because the person will do good to others, will be brave, and will be sweet tongued as per Parashara. Okay. Saturn, if Saturn is in Cancer and the sun is aspecting this Saturn, then the native can suffer from Kapha and Vata doshas. The native can seek out the wealth of others and suffer from distorted wisdom and can be a backbiter. Okay. Then sun aspecting his own sign of Leo. So if moon is in Leo and the sun is aspecting this moon, then the native can be tricky, wise, liked by the king, and suffer from Kapha related ailments. Okay. If Mars is in Leo and the sun is aspecting Mars, then the person can be very brave and courageous, very clever, friends with the opposite gender, and feared by others. Okay. If Mercury is in Leo and sun is aspecting Mercury, then the person can be skilled in writing, fond of travel, but can lack physical strength. Okay. If Jupiter is in Leo and this sun is aspecting this Jupiter, then the person can be a builder of temples, orchards, ponds, etc. And the person will be usually very strong, wise, loving, solitude, and so on. Okay. If the sun is aspected by Venus, then such a person can be cruel, shameless, disliked by his or her relatives, and can suffer from skin related ailments. Okay. Then if Saturn is in Leo and the sun is aspecting Saturn, then such a person will torment his near and dear ones. Okay. Can spoil the work of others and can suffer impotence. Okay. Can suffer from impotence. Now, if the sun is aspecting the signs of Jupiter, that means Sagittarius and Pisces, this is usually very good. And if the moon is there, okay, so it can make the person blessed with many sons. Okay, that means male children, right? Learned, the person can be very learned, can be very famous, can have very good looks, and will have a life equivalent to a king. Okay, that means the person will be very contented. Okay. If Mars is in the signs of Jupiter and sun is aspecting this Mars, then the person can become famous through war, will be very aggressive, have a clarity of speech, have a clarity of vision, and very comfortable in life. Okay. If Mercury is in the signs of Jupiter and sun is aspecting this Mercury, then such a person can turn into a linguist. Okay, can learn many languages and also possess knowledge of music and dance. Okay. If Jupiter is in its own sign and sun is aspecting this Jupiter, then it can make one very learned, wealthy, famous, and associate with the government. Okay, as a government official or even as a minister. Okay. If Venus is in a Jupiterian sign, so the sun aspecting this Venus blesses the person with a virtuous and beautiful wife, and as well as good clothes. Okay. And if Saturn is in a Jupiterian sign and sun is aspecting the Saturn, then such a person can remain very unclean, can can be infamous for being in bad company. Okay. Looks at the properties of others with an evil eye and can tend to livestock, that means cattle or goats or pigs even. Okay. Now sun aspecting the signs of Saturn, that means the sun aspecting Capricorn or Aquarius. Okay, so this is not considered to be very good. If moon is in these two signs and the sun is aspecting the moon, then this person can be a trickster, having an unstable mind. It can make the person suffer from money losses and also make him or her comfortable through association with women. Okay, if the sun is aspecting Mars in the sign of Saturn, then such a person can be tormented by illness and enemy and can suffer from physical injury. But since Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so if Mars is in Capricorn and sun is aspecting this Mars, then it can make you earn through your enemies. Okay, it can make you easily defeat your enemies. All right. Then Mercury, this can make one very brave, but can give you a backbiting nature. Okay, it can make one have an unclean body and be jealous regarding the wealth of others. If Jupiter is in the signs of Saturn and the sun is aspecting it, then it can make one very wise, very famous, and it can make one provide refuge to many. Okay, Parashara says it can make the person construct an ashram. Okay, so Venus, right? So if this Venus is in a Saturnine sign, and sun is aspecting sun is aspecting this Venus, then such a person can earn his living by dealing with women. Okay, And it can also make the person gain from women of questionable character. Okay. Parashara says that the person earns his living by selling religious products. Okay. Sun aspecting Saturn in its own signs, then this can make one defeat enemies. It can make one have good terms or good relationships with the government, and it also gives one a lot of satisfaction, although the sun is, although Saturn considers sun as its enemy. Okay. So this is all detailed that, this is as detailed as I could get. Okay. This is all about the sun in different signs and the aspects of the sun on different signs upon different planets. So if you have any doubt, I can take your questions. If not, we can end the session.
Sir, can you please tell me about Sun and Taurus again?
Yeah, sun in Taurus, it can make one very tolerant. Okay, it can make one very tolerant because Taurus, although it is ruled by the moon, it is actually, although it is ruled by Venus, it is actually the sign that exalts the moon. Okay, so sun in Taurus can make one very tolerant. It can make one very wise, and also it can make one have a very strong but a very convincing way of speaking. Okay, and such a person can also have a lot of feminine association, whether it's a male or a female. Okay, and
What is it?
yeah,
What does it mean? Because I have Sun in Virgo in the
right.
D1, and it goes to Taurus in the D9. But they're both, it's both aspect in Jupiter, in both D1 and D9.
Sun is aspecting Jupiter.
Not Jupiter, the signs of Jupiter.
Okay, in that case, the signs of the qualities of those signs, or the significations of those houses which are having those signs, those will be enhanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right then. Okay. Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Rahu in Virgo 4th house. So it's an eclipse. Okay, because Rahu is with the sun, it's an eclipse. So you need to do remedies. Okay, you need to do remedies because Venus and Rahu is good because it gives you a sense of purpose and direction in life. Mercury and Rahu, it makes you very intelligent, but that intelligence will not be used in all the right acts. You can end up using your intelligence everywhere. That leads you nowhere. Okay. Sun and Mercury, again, this is Buddhaditya yoga, but Rahu is spoiling this yoga. Sun and Venus is not good. Okay. Sun and Venus together is never good because it means Venus is taking away the significations of the sun. So you need remedies because it's happening in the 4th house. Yes, Yatika ji.
Namaste, sir. The class was very knowledgeable. I had one question.
Hmm.
Can you give a little detail on this thing that about the Pitra dosh, because I was like kind of very concerned and it was taking a lot of my mental space and energy.
See, there is a video on YouTube regarding Pitru dosha. Okay, regarding the details of Pitru dosha in complete details. It's almost a
Okay.
year old, so you can refer to that video. And if you have
Okay.
Pitru dosha, then there are a few indicators also. Your teeth will not be properly spaced. That is one indication. Secondly, you will
Okay.
have bad teeth. That is another indication. Then
Okay.
you could have foul smell coming from the mouth. That is another indication. You can
Okay.
have weak bones. That is another indication. So these are
Okay.
indications of Pitru dosha. And
Actually, the 4 5 things you just said, the four things that they those are there, but in me only the spacing of the teeth is not proper. Like the other
yeah, in
three
that
things
case,
are not there.
there is, even if it is not complete, there is a certain amount of dosha. Okay, coming
Okay.
from the ancestors. Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, Shannon.
you said the Sun and Venus.
Right.
Like what remedies? Because I've got a whole stellium in in the second, in the second house.
Right.
Like,
See, the thing is that Sun and Venus is the significator of your liquid wealth. Okay, that means the flowing wealth, the wealth that keeps on flowing. So Sun joining Venus, it can give you sudden breaks in your income streams. That is number one. And number two, it can, it can take away, suppose you are doing something and all of a sudden that job can go. All of a sudden that job can go because Venus is sixth from the sun. If you count in the weekday order, Venus is always sixth from the sun. So a planet will always do badly if it is placed with another planet which is sixth or eighth from it.
Okay. And I also noticed that in terms of the aspects, you didn't mention like Rahu and Ketu.
Yeah, because
So-
Rahu and Ketu we have to deal with separately. I'll be dealing with Rahu and Ketu in a
Okay.
separate class. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So I don't think we have questions. All right then, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. And as I said, Kalasarpa class is over and you can apply for your certificates. Okay, if you want. For that, you have to, you have to reach out to me personally and can tell you how it is done. Okay. So thank you so much. Once again, I'll see you next week. Namaste. Om Gurave Namah.